Clair Obscur Expedition 33, otherwise known as Expedition 33, is a turn-based French RPG in the vein of Final Fantasy or Xenoblade that takes inspirations from other places and adds its own flair to them to create a unique elevated cocktail of adventurous grandiosity. For the staggeringly low price of $45, you still get 50-plus hours of completionism, an incredibly twisting and impactful story, deep character builds and involved combat, and one of the best game soundtracks ever composed. This is a full-price games quality made by a team of 30 developers that have created something not only special but revolutionary in our current industry of AAA by-the-numbers generic risk-averse factory-produced gruel, similar to how Baldur's Gate 3 was so insane that it had other devs coping and seething like, "Don't expect this to continue, this isn't normal, it's making our passionless trash look bad." Expedition 33 is exactly the kind of game that everyone should be celebrating the existence of. A cheap, meaty, new IP from a small studio that knocks it out of the park. Expedition 33 isn't as deep or robust as Baldur's Gate 3, almost no games are, but it still redefines genre staples and creates a new standard in the process with the more active elements bringing in people who usually don't like turn-based combat but still rave about this one. I'm a big turn-based combat guy who appreciates many of its forms, whether it's simple like Pokemon, more tactical like Fire Emblem, deck-buildy like Marvel Midnight Suns, or super managerial like Civilization. The variety of turn-based systems as a concept is huge, and I reject the idea that we should do away with it because it's old, or an accident or whatever, like so is cheese. One day milk aged and people were like, holy shit, what is this now? Does that mean we should never have cheese because milk is still a thing? It's not like we're still doing PS1 shit. The mechanics evolve over time like any other. There's nothing outdated about it, and even the ones that haven't changed have endured because their fundamentals are so solid, like, chess, that game from the fucking 15th century with versions of it that are much earlier. There's a time and place for all styles of gameplay, and that time and place is whenever and wherever. To be clear on what I've done, I haven't fully completed this game. I beat the main story and have done probably 75% of the side stuff, but I ended up watching sections on YouTube I hadn't played that were lore relevant, so I'd still know as much as I needed to in regard to that. One complaint I do have is that once you're done with the main story, it feels like almost everything else there is to do is just way outside your level. You really have to hunt around the overworld to find things you're capable of because everything nearby just destroys you and you do no damage to it all of a sudden. This game has a damage cap for your characters where each hit can't do more than 9,999 damage, and this cap isn't removed until you beat the second to last boss of the main story. Then you're free to either challenge the final thing and get the ending, or roam around and do side stuff first. The final thing is scaled towards where you're currently at by this point, so if you get too strong doing side stuff, it'll be anticlimactic cakewalk, so I recommend doing that first and then going back and completing whatever you want. But the moment your training wheels come off with that damage cap, you're going to be in for a frustrating hour or two of just trying to find what the fuck you can actually do now without getting a one-shot or fighting enemies whose health bars don't even flinch when you attack them. The damage cap you'll be used to is 9,999, and then there'll be enemies out there with literally millions of HP. It's crazy, but there's no lack of powerful builds you can finagle with the right stats, skills, weapons, and setup. Let's get to the game graph, where we're out here judging story, graphics, mechanics, and fun as separate categories before culminating with an overall score at the end, starting with story. Expedition 33's story absolutely shines. The entire thing is a highlight from start to finish. From the first half hour of the game, you are made aware of the stakes and what your goals are, and working towards them consistently reveals new wrinkles and plot threads that take you on a satisfying ride of both joy and sorrow. I laughed a few times, I cried a few times, I was shocked a few times, and I was always engaged. This game does things I would never have expected it to do, and goes places I never could have seen coming. The last time I was this invested in a game narrative was like Kingdom Hearts in elementary school. Honestly, this shit is so good, and I get to be 30 while saying it. Story gets a 100. I know how you can do similarly, but I don't really know how you do better than this. Next is graphics, and this game looks gorgeous. It puts many AAA games to shame. The backdrops are beautiful and mesmerizing, and beyond the raw graphical prowess on display, the art direction is top-notch. There's an elegance to every environment, there's class in every cutscene, and there's dedication in every detail. The only thing I saw that people were noticing sometimes was that the filler cutscenes, aka the ones where you just sit there and press X to get through dialogue, would occasionally have bad lip syncing that looked off, but the main cinematic cutscenes were flawless. Enemy design is super cool and unique, character skills look great to watch, and many boss battles ooze creativity and panache. Graphics get a 95. Now for mechanics. Expedition 33 brings some fresh ideas to the table. Recycled or otherwise, they avoid being stale nonetheless. The main system they've got behind them is the Picto system. You can find and earn many passive abilities called Pictos that can be slotted into your character to enhance any number of things. Each character can equip 3, which gives them the stat benefits listed on the Picto in addition to its ability, like deal 50% more damage on the first turn, or free aim shots have a 20% chance to apply marked to an enemy. And then if a character participates in 4 combats with that Picto equipped, it is considered learned and can then be equipped in a secondary manner by all characters at once, using a different set of slots and requiring a certain amount of Lumina points. This doesn't activate the stat bonuses of the Picto, but it does keep the ability. This can be confusing at first, even when they explain it, but basically don't forget to check the sub-menu of the Picto section on each character and make sure you're using up all their Lumina slots at any given time, or you'll be missing out on a lot of passive bonuses. Later in the game, they throw out some truly broken ones, like being able to act twice every turn, or instantly revive upon death once per battle. You'll need a lot of Lumina points for those, but they are absolutely worth it. I like this system once I fully grasped it, and it's paired with more build customization like stat level ups, weapon scaling, and unique weapon effects to center a build around. I eventually had some fun with a team-wide burn stacking dot build that allowed me to amass like 85 burn every couple actions and deal upwards of 400,000 burn damage to enemies per turn in the late game, and even that's probably one of the weaker synergies. This game is terrified of you doing too much damage for half of it, and then the next half they're like, one-shot the hidden ultimate super boss, go ahead, we don't care. One complaint I guess I have is that I'm not too big a fan of the weapon scaling and base level ups your characters get. They feel useless until they don't. Like, you can put points into each character's vitality, agility, might, luck, and defense, and for most of the main story, it really does not matter what you do because each weapon scales with 2 different stats, and you'll be swapping them so many times throughout the campaign that keeping a consistent build for more than an hour is unlikely. You get a good amount of point resetting items, but it's a hassle and I just stop bothering. One of my characters will have a ton of agility points, and then his new weapon ends up not scaling with agility, and it's like, who cares, man, just keep your agility. I also barely even noticed a damage difference when I did reset points to maximize scaling, especially if I took them off of might to put them elsewhere, because might increases damage regardless of scaling, and it just seemed like a lateral move. This, along with the damage cap, makes it feel like the game doesn't take the training wheels off of you until you're 20 plus hours in, because in the end game you'll get weapons that scale S in something, or just scale better because you've been able to level them up and increase their scaling, and you're a dinky little asshole for the longest time until all of a sudden you're a man who immediately has to fight gods. And then eventually you become a god yourself and the world shrinks and shrivels in your presence. Basically, the balance is all over the place. I guess I could have just said that. The active elements to the turn-based combat are really great for keeping every fight interesting though, and despite whatever numerical calculations are going on behind the scenes, it's a good-ass time. Mechanics get a 90. Now for fun. Is Expedition 33 fun? Oh yeah, dude. It's an absolute blast. As long as you think it's fun to cry, which I happen to. Crying is just you opening yourself fully to an experience and allowing it to move you. I don't even just cry when things are sad. I cry when something is brilliantly done, like a top-tier incredible fight scene or a glorious narrative twist. Besides that though, this game has so much heart and soul that you'll be invested almost from the jump, and it won't let go the entire rest of the main story. Fun is when you can't put something down, and I had a sleepless night or two playing Expedition 33. Fun gets a 95. And now for the overall score, which is not an aggregate of previous scores because some things are weighted differently. I'm giving Expedition 33 a 97 out of 100. The story carries a lot more weight here in the scoring than it would in other games because it's just so impactful and central to the experience, and given the world they've created here, I really hope we get more games in the Expedition 33 universe. But that's going to do it for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. Watch all my other videos while being French and doing a British accent for some reason, and I'll see you guys next time.